Welcome to the official Jets podcast. Eric Allen here in studio. Bart Scott is going to join us later, but we have a special guest. That is Jets special teams ace, Justin Hardee, who went back to Cleveland and did some damage against his hometown Browns. Man, I've been working in the National Football League for a long time. I'd never seen a game like that. An improbable 31-30 victory. How are you feeling today?
Man, unbelievable, man. I wanted this feeling ever since I found out that we was playing the Browns, so I've been dreaming of this day. I feel ecstatic, man. So happy. So so glad to get victory Monday and, just do it against my home team is special.
All right, so let's not bury the lead. Onside kick time. Corey Davis gets a touchdown, 66-yarder. There's a bust in the Browns coverage, so you guys are on the field quickly. What is Boyer telling you guys in those couple seconds before you go out there on the field?
Just telling guys, hey, you guys go, like he told Will Parks to go hit the guy with the ball. And that's exactly what he did, just telling guys their direction. And he had a few ball guys, I was one of the ball guys, even though I was the closest one to the kicker to the left, still was able to, obviously get over there with some speed and stuff. So just giving direction, letting us know. It's funny because before they called the timeout, they was like, they going to that side. They was pointing and saying that, and we let him know, and he was like, we're going to act like we're going to go to the other side, but we still going to that side, and, got it done.
You were crediting Will Parks a lot
Most
after
definitely.
that. Yeah, so tell me why he was unsung hero there.
Because he literally said, I break us out on kickoff and stuff, and he literally was like, yo, I'm about to hit this ball back in, go get the ball. Like, he literally said that. Like, I'm about to go hit the ball back in, go get the ball, let's go home. And, it's crazy. That's how it happened. So I definitely got to show my love and grace to my guy because, of course, I'm the one that get all the love, but I feel like he should be getting the same amount of love as me, as well as Braden as well, because he kicked a hell of a kick. So,
How much do you guys practice that during the week? I think Braden said after practice Wednesdays and sometimes Fridays, or maybe vice versa.
Yeah. So as far as I know, the kickers, they probably practice it way more than we do. But as far as alignment and all that kind of stuff, we do it like once or twice a week. Make sure we are squared away, and that's a time to not a time to joke around or anything. That's a time to because that type of stuff can win us the game. And obviously, it came into play and helped us win this game. So that's.
Is it hard to simulate that in practice? Because out there in the field, it's going to be life and death. Like Will said, he's going to be taking care of bodies out there, and you guys got to protect each other in practice.
Yeah, nah, for sure. It's definitely different. You just believe in the guys you got out there and believe that, the guys who, the coach and the GM put on the team, that they're going to get the job done. And, we obviously had those guys on the field at that time. Sure.
How cool was it? We're talking about Will Parks here. His story, he gets released, he comes back on the practice squad, he's activated, and then he's a key contributor here on Sunday in your first win of the season.
Man, it's crazy, man. I'm glad he's still here. The whole building is glad he's still here, man. One of them guys who had a great camp, man, and been playing, this year 7 for him, been balling, and I'm glad I get to play with him again this season, and I'm glad he's, like I said, still on the team with us, and I know he's going to come up way bigger in this season for us, and I can't wait to watch him.
You're a prideful group, special teams. How much did you guys want to make a statement against the Browns? After a couple mishaps against Baltimore, we know the extra point miss. Zerline, unfortunately, missed that field goal, 45-yarder. Braden had a short punt in the second half. Did you all come together as a group? And you are the guy. You are the captain of that group.
Yeah, Boyer challenged us. Boyer challenged us to go out and do better, to not cause any penalties and all that kind of stuff. I believe we got one. And it wasn't even, in the field of play and stuff. But just he challenges every single week to, you know, stop the returns, to create an explosive, create some type of momentum play for us. And at the beginning of the game, we was able to, you know, fake the punt and hit Jeff Smith. And that's something we've been practicing since last year. So to watch it come to play, it was beautiful to see. And we also scored on that drive. And then, you know, special teams, Greg Zerline, you know, he missed a few kicks last week. Everybody wrote him out, and he took it personal and went and got in the lab and got right, you know. And then Braden comes out. He shanks a punt last week. Everybody, you know, wrote him off. And then he comes in and put a few balls inside of the 10, and then also throws a fake punt, and also, you know, with the onside kick. So I commend those guys, and I commend, you know, all 11 of the guys who was on the field at that time, and even, you know, Brandon Echols and, you know, the interior line, D-line and linemen on the field goal block to force them to miss that. You know, I got to, you know, commend all those guys for all the work, you know, just because, like I said, Boyer holds us to a very high standard, and, you know, it's weekly. It's not something that, you know, of course we was a big part of the game win yesterday, but, you know, weekly, you know, just like Cincinnati, ain't nothing going to change. Like, it's probably going to get even harder, so I love it.
You played wide receiver at Illinois. Are you in Boyer's ear at all saying, hey, listen, Braden can pass the ball a little bit to me?
Yeah, for sure. But, you know, that's what Jeff Smith does, so I was, you know, glad. I'm a team guy, so whatever's going to help the team win, man, if that's the guy to do it, I was glad to, you know, be out there.
Man, how big of a play was that, considering that Cleveland's first scoring drive, 90 yards, almost 9 minutes off the game clock, and it looked like you were going to have to get off the field and get back on defense there. And, of course, you go for the punt. He connects for 17 yards to Jeff Smith, and you end up in the end zone.
Yeah, that was special, man. Like I said, just you know, that's a sudden change play. And, you know, the offense right back out there, drove down the field and scored, man. That's how you capitalize off a drive. That's complimentary football. And I feel like once we start playing way more of that, way better complimentary football, you'll see a lot more wins around here, in which I expect.
Yeah. What about Braxton Berrios? You guys had traction in the return game as well. Do you think it's just a matter of time before he's going to break another one?
Special, man. Yeah, he's special. He got a different eye for it. One thing about him, he's consistent on catching the balls, and you know that some guys struggle with that type of stuff, man. I love Brax. I love his work ethic. We definitely going to try to take a few back this season, some way, somehow, punt return, kick return. He definitely deserves to be in the end zone, and, you know, it's up to us, the blockers, to make it happen.
Speaking of contributions from everybody, we could go up and down the roster and name a guy who put his best foot forward and their contribution helped you guys to victory. How about Ashton Davis, a reserve defensive back coming in? He got one defensive snap yesterday against the Browns. He comes up with an interception to seal the deal.
Man, that was special, man. That was good, man. That's, you know, being the best when the best is required, you know, and that's making a play when your number called. That's what it's all about.
How far away did you grow up from the stadium?
About 15 minutes. Really an inner city kid, right down the street, not too long. So I drove past the Browns stadium probably 1,000 times in my life. You know, just because it's right there, it's right downtown. And, you know, I grew up being a Browns fan, still a Browns fan. They can win every other game after this. I don't care until we see them in the playoffs. But it was special, man, to go out there in front of my family, in front of my friends. My high school coach was there, and just a lot of people I know just growing up, and to be able to be the hero for us and still be the hometown hero for them. It was special, a moment I won't ever forget. I know my dad was there. It was, you know, I can't wrote it up more perfectly than that, honestly.
Did you have an opportunity to speak to your dad before you boarded the buses?
Yeah,
what was that moment like?
I seen my family. They just they really just embraced me. They was happy and mad at the same time. It was funny. It was, you know, they were like, "Oh man, you did that to us," but they were like, "We glad it was you." So it was, you know, one of them surreal moments. And a moment I won't ever forget because I was like, wow, is this moment real? Like even before the game and see some of them on the field with the pregame stuff, man, it was just special just like to be home. I haven't played at home since high school at the Cleveland Browns Stadium. I played my first year, my senior year. So to be able to do that, and then, I didn't even win that game. So to be able to win this game, 10 years later, it was like God had a higher purpose, and, this was my moment, and I was glad that, it was able to be there at that time.
What's the mindset when the buses are rolling in? We took the long way to the stadium yesterday.
Yeah.
It wasn't the most direct route, but you see the lake and you're approaching the stadium. What's going on through your mind, a kid who grew up there?
I was just smiling, man. I was like, wow, like this is where I'm really from. Riding past, where I grew up from and everything, it was just like, wow, like I made it through all this. Like I got through all this. Just being from like the inner city is, kind of dangerous. What it is, very dangerous. And just to see where I came from and just to be able to, I know how my city is about the Browns, and just to see everybody out and just riding past, and then, like I said, just being able to just play in the game. Even if I didn't even make a play, just playing in the game would have been very special. And, fortunately I got through healthy. That's most important. And so just how everything played out, man, it's crazy, man. Just like I said, just riding to that stadium, and this was the first game ever in my life. It did not feel like an away game.
Yeah,
it did not feel like an away game.
How many people did you have in stands?
Not even including all the tickets that I gave away, because a lot of people bought their own. So my people said about 100.
100.
Yeah, from the city. And
you. Obviously, a lot of noise after the game. But the moment you actually recovered the fumble, how quiet was that for you? You're by your sideline, so I'm sure you're hearing those guys. But for the entire 3 hours, it felt like 80,000 strong. It was mayhem in there.
Yeah.
And then I was on the sideline thinking to myself, oh, my God, it is so quiet in here.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm not even sure a lot of people know. But I forced a fumble on the punt, the last punt that we had, and I got the ball out. They just got the ball back, so that's why it wasn't like, a big deal or anything. But, that was another play that could have been the same kind of, effect. But, of course, the onside is just different because it's rare. They usually I felt like that forced fumble definitely could have been a play that changed the game. Obviously, God wrote it differently, and I'm glad that it did happen the way it did, because I was able to force a fumble and get a fumble recovery. So,
but did you think it was stunned silence there? That's the kind of way I interpreted the crowd.
It was like I couldn't believe it. Honestly couldn't believe it. I know they was probably. I just like when I went over to the sideline, the fans were just like in shock.
Right.
Like, they just couldn't believe it. Like, wow, this did not just happen. And I was like, yeah, it did.
What do you think about Garrett Wilson's return to a kid who played at Ohio State? He's got Ohio roots as well, even though he went to high school in Texas. But he said there's something different in that Ohio air, and I'm sure you can speak to that.
For sure. And they showed it yesterday. You see how loud they were, especially when they were winning. So they were going crazy. Garrett, we talked about it because, we got Ohio ties and stuff. So that's my guy. And I've been telling everybody, man, look out for 17. Like he wasn't able to showcase so much in preseason just because, you don't really want to show too much because he's a different guy. Then last week when he got out there, he showed what he could do. But, they got the ball in his hands, man, and, he's special. That dude is special, man. He's special. And just being around some great receivers like a guy like Mike Thomas and New Orleans Saints, man. And they two totally different players, but just the way that dude, he's so athletic, man. He's special. and I can't, wait to watch his career just flourish because he's humble too as well. It's not like he's like one of them ones. He's like, oh, I'm the man. Like, no, he be chilling. Like he be vibing, man. That's my type of guy.
He's really got a good way about himself. There's no doubt about that. You play cornerback as well. What physical gifts does he have that keep DBs on skates?
His separation at the top of the route is some of the best I've seen. And obviously we see it when everybody like, oh, he's so open. That's because like his separation, he got so much separation from the defensive back, and that's how you get open and you catch the ball in the league. You get paid. We all know that you make plays. So it's just about consistency at this point. Being able to do it every week. The great ones do it every week. So that's what it's about. But he's had he's held up at the end of the bargain so far. So
how close is this group overall? We're talking about Garrett. Talking about you. You're talking about Will Parks before. It seems like not only is this a talented group, but there's some real chemistry here amongst you guys, and it's only building.
Yeah. We got a lot of guys who want to win, man. We want to win. We want to, do whatever it takes to win. Some guys came from, winning a lot of winning programs, even if it was in college, and they know what, like, people just tired of getting disrespected. I know I am, man. Just tired of getting disrespected. They want to laugh at us. They want to say the same old jest and all that. And it's time to put an end to it. And we only way to put an end to it is to win. It's not about no rah-rah speech or we gonna do this or do that, man. It's about going out there on Sunday and proving it. Each Sunday is a battle.
Yeah.
You can be the worst team in the league playing the best, and the worst team may beat the best just because it's any given Sunday. So just coming out there with that dog mentality every single Sunday, just trying to win. And we building towards something special. We just trying to go to the playoffs, man. Whatever we can do, we don't want to just settle for anything. We want to give ourselves an opportunity.
How much does it help you considering where you started in the NFL? Obviously, a short stint with the Houston Texans, but then going to the Saints and playing with a team that has been so successful over the last 20 years. How much does that help you now inside a locker room where these guys are trying to get to a point where you have sustained success here?
Helped me a ton, honestly, because I was able to go through it. I didn't have to hear about it. I was able to actually go through it. I was actually able to witness it, be a part of it, work towards that. It was fun, man, to, go to the playoffs 4 years in a row. Should have had a Super Bowl, but it is what it is. Hopefully I can still get one in my career. That's what I'm praying for. It helps so much just because, like, I'm telling guys through experience. I'm not telling them through he say, she say.
Right.
I'm telling them about things that I've been through, things that I've watched to help us win, in the past, and just trying to bring that. So that's why I am a guy who do speak up. Just because I want the best for everybody in the building, especially my teammates, man. Just want to get the best out of everybody, and just trying to let them know, man, we all we got.
You're a passionate guy. When do you choose to speak up with your group? Is it Saturday night team meeting? Or is it Sunday morning when you're going to deliver something? And how much comes from the heart? And then also, spur of the moment, as opposed to how much you're preparing for the week, like what your message is gonna be.
I would say probably more so during the week. I want to say I'm one of them guys who just wants to just say something like the day before the game or the day of. I would, but I like to get my message in during the week because I feel like that's most important. You got to work in practice. You got to, that's what we get paid for, the work in practice, man. The games is all fun. Like, that's where you should be having fun. So I just try like getting guys, man, to let them know like we need this, in order to win this week, and all that kind of stuff, man. And I talk frequently to guys, man, just because, like I said, like we all we got. Like, every single time we go to battle, like it's war out there, man, and we got to have each other's back.
17 one-game seasons, but how much can you take from yesterday? And also, conversely, how much and how quickly do you have to turn the page? Because you got the Cincinnati Bengals, who are going to be a hungry team coming to MetLife Stadium on Sunday.
Yeah. You in 24. I remember my boy Cam Jordan used to say for the New Orleans Saints, he used to say 24-hour rule. 24-hour rule. You enjoy it. Enjoy the victory just because they're rare in the NFL in general, and now it's on to the next. So you enjoy it for 24 hours, and now it's on to the next opponent. And that's one thing I love about the NFL, man. It's next Sunday up. It's another opportunity to showcase everything, man. And I'm excited to go against Cincinnati. It's some guys, that I played with in New Orleans with that, my lifelong friends. But it's war on Sunday.
When do you personally start jumping into that film and looking at how the Bengals attack people on teams?
Like Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, yeah. Just get my head start on them Tuesday, and go in throughout the rest of the week. Put this film to bed with the former game. I mean, the game we just had yesterday, because there's always something to correct. There's always some mistakes out there. Nobody's perfect, and then get to those guys, man, and just try to find any little advantage I can and on my opponent.
How personal do you take it? Because when a ball is kicked, and if 34 isn't down there first, I'm thinking to myself, there's something wrong here. Because you close your eyes, you look, punt, kickoff coverage, there you are.
Yeah, I take it very personal. I feel like it's my job, to make those plays. And of course, I'll always be happy for my teammates, man. But I want to make every play. That's just me. That's it's just the selfishness in me. That's the competitiveness in me. I just want it all, man. I want to be the best. I want to, get what I feel like I've been, deserving. And there's no need to talk about it. But I love to show you this Sunday and every other Sunday after that, and I'm going to keep going. I won't stop. I'm just hungry, man. I want different results this year for this team, for myself personally. I have my goals, and I won't stop till I get them.
Can I ask you the guys that you look up to, whether they're your peers, special team standouts, or maybe guys in history that you say? Because one person that Boyer always mentions when I speak about special teams is Matthew Slater, of course, with New England.
Yep. So that's a guy I got a lot of respect for. About I think my second year, he reached out to me actually, and was just telling me how much he respect my game and stuff, man. And was able to go against him this past season. It's just fun. How your idols become your rivals and stuff. Definitely got a tremendous amount of respect for him. Craig Robertson, a guy who I learned from where I was at the New Orleans Saints, who taught me. I felt like he, put, an emphasis on leadership, and he, spoke up, and he was like, and I just used to watch him because I'm like, man, we got all type of Hall of Famers on this team, but we got a guy who's just a special teamer, and he's the leader of the whole team. Like, he's not the leader of offense or the leader of defense. We got Drew Brees, who's been in the league for almost 20 years, and Craig Robertson was the leader of the whole team. Mm-hmm. So just to actually witness that and be a part of that, and I was able to see that and feel that. So that's a guy I always look up to when it comes to special teams, man. When it comes to leadership and going out there and proving it and doing it every single Sunday, and not actually just talking about it, just because I speak, at practice or after practice, or I speak how I feel, or when I'm not feeling something. So, when you speak, people looking at you to see what you going to do, how you going to respond. Like, you doing all this talking, what you going to do on Sunday? So I just like to let, I don't even think about it either after I talk, because I know I'm going to do me regardless on Sundays, no matter who or what, anything. That's just who I am, and that's who I'm going to always be. I just got that mentality. That's just me.
What kind of advice would you give some young kids growing up in Cleveland right now about making it? Not necessarily making it in the National Football League, but just excelling, taking something from when you're a kid to get to a point where professionally you're successful and you're succeeding in life.
I would just tell them to keep believing, keep pushing. Don't let anyone tell them that you can't do anything. Keep fighting. Listen. I feel like a lot of the younger generation don't listen. Like, everybody always has an opinion, but just listening. Learning protocol, learning, respecting your elders and all that stuff, man, and respecting your parents, man. Just because you're fortunate to have them. You just never know. So just staying focused.
Yeah.
Staying focused. There's so many distractions out here, so many distractions and so many things to, pull you off to the side and, get you to go off the wrong track. But just staying focused, staying locked in, and knowing what you want to do it for, man, and, making your family happy.
And if anybody watched you Sunday afternoon about 4:15 in Cleveland, would you say dreams can come true?
Yeah, literally. Dreams literally can come true, and I just lived one. And, like I said, it was a dream before I even got the fumble. It was already a dream. So to get the victory and the fumble, to make a big play, man, it was wow. It was a wild moment for me, and that was one of the best moments of my life.
WynnBET is bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. Get in on all your favorite teams, players, and sports. From boosted parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport, they have what you need to win. Jets fans in New Jersey, sign up today and use promo code XJETS. And after placing your first $100 wager, you will receive $100 to bet with. You will receive a $50 free bet and a $50 casino bonus. Again, the promo code is XJETS. Offer subject to change. Offer only available in New Jersey. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 21 or older to participate. Please visit wynnbet.com to view welcome offers available in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia.
You're watching or listening to the official Jets podcast. Eric Allen here in studio, joined by my partner in crime, Bart Scott. We are presented by WynnBET. Betting is a team sport. Bet together at WynnBET. Bart Scott, with a minute 55 left in last Sunday's game, the Jets trailed the Cleveland Browns by the count of 30-17. How much of a chance would you have given them at that point?
Well, we're probably giving them the same chance that, all the odd makers had, right? They had a 99% chance of losing the game. It kind of goes back and tell you how important it is to make sure you do all things correct. If you look at Sunday as a whole, you look at what happened across the NFL, teams that seemingly were out of it continue fighting, and you may only have a 1% chance, but 1% chance is 1%, and that's still a chance. And I think the Jets showed a lot of grit, and it showed that they were prepared for the situation. You talk about going into that onside kick, and yes, it had to be a perfect storm, but every once in a while there are perfect storms. You talk about, Braden Mann coming out with a unique onside kick. You can tell they had practiced it. You can tell the guys were locked in on Saturday and Friday when you go over the special situations, and they executed and they gave themselves a chance. But even with giving themselves a chance, they still had to go down and score a touchdown and move the ball. And I thought Joe Flacco really represented himself and lived up to the nickname, Joe Cool. He didn't panic. He didn't get overexcited, overzealous. He went back to a kid who had dropped a pivotal third down pass, And I think the greatest thing that came out of this game, EA, is that we had a number one receiver.
Oh, yeah.
It's not Corey Davis. It's not Elijah Moore. It's Garrett Wilson. And I think he's going to be the table setter. Not since Brandon Marshall, not since Santonio Holmes, which his game reminds me a lot of Santonio Holmes because he's a slight build guy, but he has a huge catch radius. He's able to take short passes and take them for big yards with his quickness and his dynamic route running. But he's also able to get vertical. And that's something that Santonio Holmes did at a high level. And I haven't seen a receiver do that his size since Santonio Holmes.
Man, long term, if you're watching the Jets right now, obviously Cool Joe's taking care of business with the aforementioned Garrett Wilson. But you got to be excited about the potential of Wilson to Wilson. That is Zach Wilson with the number 1 in Garrett Wilson. The guy's releases off the line of scrimmage on that first touchdown, his first professional touchdown, was sick, Bart. And what he can do after the catch, it's really something. And when you're looking at this Jets offense right now, you got to like the potential of this being a dynamic unit because there are a lot of playmakers there for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I think Breece Hall kind of had a great bounce-back game. He showed you everything that the scouts said about him as far as his ability with his 4.3 speed, being able to run behind his pads. You talk about, going out, people would say, oh, well, he caught an easy, wide-open catch, down on the goal line. Sometimes routine ain't always routine. We see guys have concentration drops all the time. He really bounced back. And I thought this team, whether they were going to come back and win that crazy game or not, I thought they really, had a great showing of themselves. Yes, Nick Chubb is Nick Chubb, and he's a great runner, and it's a lot to be learned when you're trying to be on the string as far as having stout rush defense. But to hold him to 87 yards is still, I think, is a mild victory. It's not a great victory because you want to hold him to like 40. But Kareem Hunt, at 58 yards, and they're a dynamic duo. They're a dynamic duo that ran for 250 plus yards the week before. I thought they were disciplined. I thought they were physical, and I thought they gave themselves a chance to win. And whether, the craziness happened that only happens 1% of the time or not, I thought that it was something to be proud of. But now Saleh has his team right where he wants them. They are able to make mistakes, have coachable moments and teachable film, but they got the victory. So like all the things that they did bad, they can handle those in private, opposed to having to legislate it and talk about it and defend it out in the public. They can work on what they have to work on. There was plenty of things that they can improve on. But I think the offensive line, got better. That was a tough outfit. Myles Garrett is a beast. He should be the front runner for Defense Player of the Year now that TJ Watt is out. And they made mistakes and he made plays. But when it came down to it, when it came down to winning time, he was nowhere to be seen. And people can say whatever they want to say about Jadeveon Clowney going out. It doesn't matter. They were able to keep one of the most dynamic pass rushers away from having a moment when the table was set for him to be the hero.
All right, we're sensing a pattern here. On Mondays, Robert Saleh really sets the tone for his team and his organization. Remember going back to last Monday after the Ravens loss, he said he's keeping receipts and I believe was sending a message to his locker room by saying, I got your back. Now, today, moments ago, as we start the week, you know what he said? It's time to move on. It was jubilant. It was exciting. It was a great win, but it's time to move on. How much do you think that has to resonate for these young Jets?
Attitude reflect leadership, and the fact that he's saying he gave them Monday off for a reason. Not that they've earned victory Mondays. You normally don't get victory Mondays out so early in the season because there's so many corrections to be made. But he gave them that one because he wants their undivided attention when they come in Wednesday. They don't want them walking around pounding their chest, having fun and enjoying themselves and, doing a victory lap. Now it's time to get back to business. And I think, you set the tone because now they have a very winnable game. When we first saw this game on the schedule, we were like, oh, man, the defending AFC, champions, went to the Super Bowl. But they're vulnerable, and it's blood in the water. And right now we need you to not, just kind of rest and get all the pats on the back. We need you hungry for another one. To come out in front of your home crowd and give them what they deserve. And that's a great performance. And that's an opportunity to go 2-1 within the division. And listen, we can say, hey, we have a real legitimate opportunity to go 3-1 in the AFC North. Now, if we would have said that week 1, people would have laughed at us. But now it's a reality. So let them laugh now. Let us talk about the receipts. But if we go 3-1, we put ourselves in position to play meaningful football in November and December. That's all you can ask for. You know what I mean? And everybody's kind of getting experience. They're coming along, and it's a lot of work to be done. But all you have to do is be just slightly a little bit better than your opponent. And right now, teams that have a lot of problems, and as long as we stick together, be positive, and be responsible as far as holding each other accountable, who's to say that you can't be 3-1?
Man, that would be something. But they got to take care of business first at MetLife. You just talked about the Bengals, a wounded tiger. Okay, 0-2. Joe Burrow's been sacked 13 times in 2 games. I was reading some of the reaction from their locker room after their latest loss, of course, to the Dallas Cowboys. And Jamar Chase said, hey, listen, teams are lining up against us and playing a cover 2 shell. We have to run against that. And obviously, Burrow has not been getting the time he needs to get the ball to his receivers down the field. He's also a patient quarterback. I just think it's a fascinating matchup because what we saw early on from the Jets, these first 2 opponents, is a lot of 8 men in the box, where you put Whitehead in the box, you have LaMarcus Joyner back. Everything is determined by the opponent. What will the Jets' defensive game plan be against a Bengals offense that has struggled early in the season?
I mean, listen, the Bengals are victims of their own success, right? What happens is when you go to the Super Bowl and represent the AFC, teams and defensive coordinators are going to make you their focus, right? They're going to see, okay, how do we stop these guys? How do they, what do they struggle with? You talk about the patience of a quarterback. We watched Patrick Mahomes struggle with this early on in the season last year. And then what they decided to do, because teams were playing them the same way that Tampa played them, not giving them any explosive plays, understanding that the offensive line may be improved, but it's still an offensive line that is young and still trying to get their chemistry together. And what happens is if you force Joe Burrow to hold on to the ball, all it takes is one holding penalty, one procedure problem, right? And you're able to double these receivers, down the field because they're putting 3 out, but you got 7 in coverage. And what they're going to do is, and how I expect the Bengals to try and attack the Jets defense, is I expect them to really do a lot of runs, but also screen game. The Jets really struggled in the screen game, and the screen game can come to Hayden Hurst, their dynamic tight end. It can come in Joe Mixon. And so they're going to have their antennas up because they were jacked up on Mountain Dew, and they didn't have really good eyes when it came to being able to locate some of the screens. And that's what Cleveland really hurt them with early on. So you have to self-scout. Then you have to say, listen, we have the personnel to play cover 2, cover 4, let everything get thrown up in front of us and then rally to it and see if they can be patient. And then on the flip side, if we can get ahead, against this Bengals defense, let's see if we can force them to kind of panic. And if they panic, mistakes happen, and we have playmakers in the back end that can make the plays. But you got to make sure that you keep somebody over Jamar Chase. So then how do you attack cover 2? Hayden Hurst. So now that's a good matchup for us because we have athletic linebackers in Kwan Alexander. We have athletic linebackers in C.J. Mosley that can make it difficult for him to be featured. But you still got to keep your eyes on Joe Mixon because last year when they had success because Joe Mixon was one of the best players on the field.
Jamar Chase, you just mentioned him. Man, dynamic talent. Joe Burrow's favorite weapon. Those guys have a great synergy. You said you're going to put a safety over the top. Which cornerback would you like to use more on Chase? Because Sauce Gardner, big dude in his own right. Then you got the feisty DJ Reed on the other side. What do you want to match it all with him?
Well, a lot of times what you don't want to do, we saw the Ravens struggle with it last year. Marlon Humphreys is a 6-foot, very physical, very big corner, a lot bigger than Sauce, and he tried to overpower Jamar Chase, and it worked, against them because he's physical enough. If you try and jam and get up in his space, that he's physical enough to throw you off, much like guys like Brandon Marshall did. He's a big guy, strong guy, powerful guy, and he still has long speed. So I want a guy that's going to mirror him, but I'm going to try and get a jam and a reroute, but I'm not leaving anybody alone with him. Period. Right? Not without safety help, not with some type of bracket system. And we're going to have a plan about how we have to get him down. Right? I'm not going at his legs. I'm making sure I wrap cloth and I get a good squeeze and I make sure. But I have no problems with any corner being locked up with him. but he's never going to be by himself. I give him that much respect. What he did as a rookie, garners or warrants that you give him that type of respect as a upper echelon to top 10. I know they didn't put him in top 10 in the ratings and in the ratings, this offseason, but he's very deserving to be one of those guys. He's that talented.
John Franklin Myers, I asked him about where the defense has to improve. He said the defensive line is getting close to the quarterback, but they're not finishing. Do you look at this game with those struggles up front that we've noted with the Bengals and the propensity of Burrow to hold on to the ball? Is a prime opportunity for the defensive line to feast?
Well, listen, you have to force him to hold on to the ball, and you have to be tied to your back end, because understand, like, they're going to make the necessary adjustments. You don't have a guy like Jamar Chase or a guy like Joe Burrow, kind of basically point the finger at his offensive coordinator and his coach and saying, hey, we got to find a way to beat this, right? So you have to understand, now maybe the ball is going to come out quick. So now you got to understand, you may not get to Jamar Chase, you might not get to Joe Burrow so quickly, but now you got to say, okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm able to get my hands up and tip balls, because tip balls change games as well. Because when you tip the ball up, only the intended receiver is kind of looking at it, but you have 11 guys on the other side that has an opportunity to get a tip ball and get a big, change of a possession type of play. So understand that if that's the case, they're going to try and go and take what the team gives them. And really, if I'm one of these linebackers and I hear those statements by Jamar Chase, we got to learn how to attack cover two. That's speaking directly to your linebackers, because that speaks to high lows, right? The same thing that the Jets did with Garrett Wilson, right? Garrett Wilson, the game-winning throw was basically cover two and a guy in the curl window. They put a guy in front of him and ran Garrett behind him, high-load the safety and high-load the curl window guy, and that's how they took advantage. So understand that the middle of the field is what's going to get attacked when teams are trying to attack cover two. So if I'm the linebackers, I'm going to make sure I get extreme depth. I'm going to make sure that I'm prepared to be attacked. And we have linebackers. That's the strength of our defense, I believe, the veteran leadership of C.J. Mosley, and also the experience of Quan Alexander, that you can understand that you can get some opportunities. You're going to get opportunities because they're going to come at you first and hope that they can attack you in the middle, and then they have to put more resources for you, like going to cover three, which turns into basically cover one, and then now they can feast a famine because they got the one-on-ones that they've been looking for on the outside.
Man, I love it. The Jets were eaten Sunday in Cleveland offensively, 31 points against a defense that is, I would say, top half in the National Football League, especially when you're talking about the two guys they have on the edges, and they got one of the premier cornerbacks in Denzel Ward. But let's fast forward to the matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Sound defensive unit who I thought caught lightning in a bottle in the postseason last year. What have you seen from the Bengals here early in the season, and how might the Jets take advantage of them?
I mean, they have two of the most premier safeties in the game. When you think about Bates and Von Bell, right? Yeah. But also, you talk about Trey Henderson. Everybody wants to talk about Myles Garrett, and you want to talk about Chandler Jones. When you go over the last 3 years, I think he's third as far as most sacks in the NFL in the last 3 years. So you can't let him wreck the game. And then, of course, Hubbard is kind of like their elder statesman. Right, he's been there the longest. He's a guy that's a big, long guy, kind of like Brett Kiesel playing on the outside. They're going to set those edges and force you to kind of try and be patient, much like the Jets are. Trey Henderson is a relentless pass rusher. Hubbard is more of a power guy that's going to try and set the edges, get his hands up. They drop him in coverage. He's more athletic than you would think. He's dropped a couple of interceptions that hit his hands. So if I'm going to attack them, it all starts always with being able to run the ball and being able to get Joe Flacco in downs in which you don't know if it's going to be play action or pass, after the first down. So, sometimes you might have to slip in if they're overplaying you and playing for the run. You might have to loosen them up with some throws on first down. But, it's certain passes, whether it's screens, whether it's bubble screens or some type of slants, those are just extensions of the run game. Right. So you have to make sure that you win on first down so that you can give yourself an opportunity to have, diversity in your attack after that down.
Yeah, the Jets really took advantage of the Bengals last year, using their backs out of the backfield in the receiving game. And I'll tell you what, while Garrett Wilson is rightfully getting the headlines, as is Breece Hall, Michael Carter's been fantastic out of the gate in these first 2 games. Let's end here. Your former teammate who was sitting here in studio with us just a couple weeks ago, Joe Flacco, will get his 3rd consecutive start. What have you thought of him, and also what do you think about what's going through his mind right now? Because he might be handing that baton over to Zach Wilson next week. We don't know yet. Robert Saleh said the earliest Wilson could return is week 4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, I don't want to look too far into the future, but just as far as Flacco coming in, leading the Jets to a victory, 4 touchdown passes against the Browns, and now he'll face another former divisional opponent, of course, in the Bengals.
Well, if he keeps this up, Joe can say mission complete. I came here to prove that I still can be a starter in this league, that I still have value, that I still can win football games, that I still have a live arm. And if he continues to play this way, and even if you hand it off to Zach Wilson, because he is the future of the Jets organization, and his development is really the most important thing, because you have to know if you have a franchise quarterback. But Joe Flacco understands that he can be a bridge. I mean, if you look right up the road, with the Giants, you understand that, Danny Dimes may or may not be there next year. You know that, okay, in Carolina, they're still searching for an answer, right? So Joe Flacco, if he continues to play this way, then he's made a case that he should be one of those starters, or he should get an opportunity to compete for a starting job. And that's all that you can ask for if you're Joe Flacco, an opportunity to have an opportunity.
Good stuff as always, Matt Becker. Next week, since we'll be 3 weeks in to the 2022 NFL season, we're going to take a look not only at the Jets, but around the league to see what your thoughts are, what's happening elsewhere. I think 2 games is too small of a sample size, but three, we can take a look, and we'll also try to get you back here in studio. Remember, subscribe, rate, and review. Give us a like on the YouTube. For Bart Scott, I'm Eric Allen.
Looks like I'm come find you. Believe that.
What's that?
If they give us a bad mark or thumbs down, tell them I'll come find them. No IP address.
I don't even know if they allow that anymore, the thumbs down. Just give us a like, subscribe, rate, review, and give the backers some nice messages.